Deebo Samuel, one of the San Francisco 49ers, requested a trade. This is something the 49ers have been aware of, want to make him one of the higher paid receivers in the NFL. He has just been, as of now, unwilling to accept or engage. He simply wants to be elsewhere.
But Deebo Samuel was the one who scrubbed the 49ers logos off his social media page. Was the one that has put a halt to everything for right now.
We have a lot that happened over the past 24 hours that I have to catch you guys up on. So before we get to the content, we're giving 2 of my Twitter followers $250. All you have to do is follow me on Twitter, and if you want, maybe turn on my notifications. And now that we get all that out of the way, break! Check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Last night I made a tremendous sacrifice for the sake of my career, where I had a social event. I was actually going to take some time off until I found out there was some breaking news that pertained to Deebo Samuel. At least I felt like it was very relevant, because typically whenever something like this happens, more often than not, a player means business. So on a San Francisco 49ers page last night, Taekwon Samuel, Deebo Samuel's brother, got into it with another San Francisco 49ers fan who commented, "Trade him." Taekwon Samuel responded to that saying, "Don't worry, we're asking for a trade," and then followed that up by responding to another fan saying he won't be a 49er. That's all that matters. Now, this to me was very big news. Whenever someone close to a superstar in the NFL says that this player is going to request a trade, more often than not, that's probably the most credible source that you can get, especially because as of recent events, a lot of my subscribers don't trust Adam Schefter anymore. So with that being said, I rushed to make a video, and the very moment I was able to get the video up, Taekwon Samuel retracted his claim. He posted onto Instagram saying, "Y'all take shit and run with it. I don't know nothing about what my brother's doing," laughing emoji. Now, obviously, if you want to take this for what it is at face value, you're gonna say, "Oh, he pulled a joke on us." But really what I thought went down, which kind of annoyed me because it may have damaged my credibility at that time, at least that's what my comment section from my video yesterday would indicate. But what I think actually went down was Deebo Samuel hit up his brother and said, "Bro, what the hell are you doing?
Why are you stirring up all this stuff about me? Why am I trending on Twitter right now? Why are people hitting me up saying that I demanded a trade?"
Which, by the way, he did. It was just not made public at that point because the San Francisco 49ers and him were apparently still trying to work out a contract. So I feel like Deebo Samuel's brother eventually went onto Instagram and did some damage control, and that's how we got the result that we did. And ultimately, this morning may have further validated that for us, because when we woke up this morning, we got breaking news from Jeff Darlington and Ian Rappaport. So Jeff Darlington said, "Breaking news, I just spoke to wide receiver Deebo Samuel, and he told me that he asked the 49ers to trade him. He did not want to discuss specific reasons behind his request, but he has indeed let the 49ers know his desire to leave the organization. More to come." We actually do have details as to why he wants to be traded that transcends just a simple contract negotiation, because according to Adam Schefter, the San Francisco 49ers were ready to get a contract done with Deebo Samuel.
Well, listen, San Francisco wants to pay Deebo Samuel, but Deebo Samuel was the one who scrubbed the 49ers logos off his social media page. Deebo Samuel was the one that essentially basically made it known he wanted to move on. San Francisco would pay Deebo Samuel today, tomorrow, the next day. It's not hard.
Now, people went on Twitter and called Adam Schefter a liar about this, because if you're a player in the NFL, if a team is willing to pay you what you want to get paid, chances are you will accept that contract because you value stability. Especially if you're Deebo Samuel, you've had a little bit of a history of injury issues and had one really prolific season, and you want to cash in on that season as much as you can. One would assume that you would take the 49ers offer once it was given to you, but it seems like this goes further than that. According to Ian Rappaport, the San Francisco 49ers have been looking to make offers for a long-term deal with wide receiver Deebo Samuel, but he's been unwilling to engage, and this is why. Unclear where this goes from here, but Deebo Samuel wanting out is the latest in big-name wide receiver drama. So Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter have the equivalent take on this situation, and Rap Sheet even continues on to say, money isn't a problem here, tweeting that money is not not at the root of the issues for Deebo Samuel. Otherwise, that could have been fixed with a big offer. But there are also issues with how he's used. Now, this part to me is absolutely wild, because the reason why Deebo Samuel is so prolific and the reason why Deebo Samuel is commanding such a large salary is because of the way that he's used. It's when the San Francisco 49ers featured him as a halfback and a wide receiver that really opened up his game and made him the wide receiver that he is today. I don't want to say this is the exact same thing, but it kind of reminds me of when Mike Shanahan and Robert Griffin III couldn't get along with how to utilize RG3 after his injuries. RG3 didn't want to be a scrambling quarterback after his rookie season due to sustaining a horrific injury and wanted to be a pocket passing QB, more of the likes of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, which, with all due respect to RG3, wasn't a part of his game. As a result, things just went sour for RG3 throughout his career, and I can't necessarily say I blame him for wanting to take that route after the injury that he sustained. Now, I don't want to say this is the same thing, because obviously Deebo Samuel's a wide receiver. Deebo Samuel has an injury history as well, but I could also see the rationale here for him. I mean, in the NFL, there is one position that is notorious for having the smallest shelf life in the entire NFL. And that's the running back position. Running backs tend to be good for like 3 years. And if you could consistently be a dominant over 3 years, then that's seen as a bonus in the life of a running back. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way things are. The last time I saw a running back break that mold, and let me know in the comment section if there are any other running backs that have recently broken that mold, because I'm just saying this off the top of my head, is Adrian Peterson. You could also make the argument for Ezekiel Elliott, but recently Ezekiel Elliott has been showing some signs of slowing down. He's still a good running back, he's just not nearly as dominant as he once was. And I'm assuming Deebo Samuel doesn't like being used as a running back when he's a wide receiver. So I want to get your take on that in the comment section as we move on. But Adam Schefter continues to say that just because Deebo Samuel has requested a trade, as Jeff Darlington reported, doesn't mean that the 49ers have to make one. But it is, at the very least, one more gigantic subplot to mix into draft week, with other teams now figuring out ways to land one of the league's top weapons. Now, what do I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to do as a result of this ultimately? Well, in the beginning, I thought they were going to pay Deebo Samuel. He's a huge part of their offense. But if Deebo Samuel doesn't want to fill the role that made him so prolific, and if Deebo Samuel isn't even coming to the table to negotiate a contract, now I'm convinced that the 49ers are going to trade Deebo, mainly because if they could recoup a first-round pick, that would be huge for them, considering the fact that they don't have a first-round pick in this year's NFL draft. And Ian Rappaport actually agrees with that, saying that the San Francisco 49ers make their first pick of this draft at number 61, and a trade for Deebo Samuel would likely net them a first-round pick if they trade him, which they may or they may not. So it's also interesting to note that as I'm making this video, Deebo Samuel's latest liked tweet since reports of a trade request has broke, and it's him liking a picture of him with CeeDee Lamb on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I'm a Cowboy fan. I'm going to tell you guys like 100% straight up that he is not going to the Dallas Cowboys. They just traded Amari Cooper because they were paying Amari Cooper way too much money. The Dallas Cowboys have cleared up some salary cap space and have about $15 million in cap space. I don't see them breaking the bank to sign Deebo Samuel, especially when they're expected to sign CeeDee Lamb in a couple of years from now. It's not necessarily at the top of the priority list. They just paid Michael Gallup. It's a cute tweet that Deebo Samuel liked, and that's that. But in this instance, I don't see another scenario or an alternative to this scenario than Deebo Samuel getting traded. What's going to happen otherwise? He doesn't want to negotiate a contract extension with the 49ers. Would the 49ers talk to Deebo Samuel and maybe convince him to take a different role? I'm unsure, but when it gets to a point where he's going to the front office and is saying that he is going to request a trade, then it seems like more likely than not, he is going to get traded. So Ian Rappaport also mentioned the teams that are the most likely to trade for him, and it's teams that are all in need of a wide receiver. Look at the New York Jets, Green Bay Packers, Kansas City Chiefs, and Detroit Lions as all teams that could potentially trade for Deebo Samuel. Most specifically, the Kansas Kansas City Chiefs. They have an opportunity to replace the production of Tyreek Hill, get a similar type of wide receiver as Tyreek Hill, and ultimately don't need to pay him Tyreek Hill money. Going from the highest paid wide receiver to the 5th highest paid wide receiver, who's about 4 years younger than Tyreek Hill, would be a huge win if you're a Chiefs fan. So despite the Kansas City Chiefs making perfect sense for Deebo Samuel and us providing remarkable rationale for it, we just got an update while I was editing this video from Josina Anderson that the Kansas City Chiefs aren't going to be pursuing Deebo Samuel. The exact tweet saying, when requesting a trade like Deebo Samuel has, though not guaranteeing a move, you always garner feedback from the market. Regarding the Chiefs, a league source told me that while Deebo Samuel is regarded as highly talented, the team is not actively pursuing him currently, and they are focused on the NFL draft. The only logical explanation I could provide for you guys before we get to the other teams is the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs are currently doing whatever they can to build a contender around Patrick Mahomes while saving as much money as possible. And I believe that they feel like they can get themselves a brand new weapon that Patrick Mahomes could rely on without having to pay him top 5 wide receiver money, because obviously he's going to be a rookie in the league. So I'm assuming that's why the Chiefs are more focused on the NFL draft and they're valuing their draft picks over trading for a guaranteed star player like Deebo Samuel. Now, another team that's literally been involved in each and every single trade rumor surrounding a wide receiver so far this offseason is none other than the New York Jets. They tried to trade for Tyreek Hill when Tyreek Hill got traded to the Miami Dolphins. Currently in rumors with AJ Brown because AJ Brown and Elijah Moore were buddies back at Ole Miss, and because AJ Brown and Corey Davis were teammates a few years ago. But Josina Anderson says that meanwhile, my understanding is there is feeling currently within the New York Jets organization that wide receiver Deebo Samuel won't be moved at all, unless San Francisco gets a king's ransom, per a league source. Now, the New York Jets' opinion of Deebo Samuel holds significant weight. Robert Saleh was Kyle Shanahan's defensive coordinator 2 years ago. If there's one individual that understands how that front office works, it'll be a man that was literally working for the organization a few years back. I don't think Deebo Samuel is worth the Devontae Adams price or the Tyreek Hill price. I do think he's worth a 1st-round pick or a 2nd-round pick if you can get him for such, because after that, you're gonna have to pay him a significant sum of money. So hopefully no trade requests get retracted after this video goes live. If you want, you could also update me via my social media accounts in the description down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.